Greetings, Commanders! My name is Eagle, and in today's video, we are featuring an officer that is one of my personal favorites. Yes, you have guessed it right. It's gonna be Evelyn, and we're gonna go through her skills, her skill prioritization, her different roles in the game, especially during the different phases of the game, in the early phase and the late game, in addition to explaining her talent trees for each specific role, and finally going through her best pairings and how to obtain her badges. Now, if you like these types of videos where we give you officer tips and guides to smash your enemies on the battlefield, make sure to subscribe to the channel and smash that like button for more Kiss of War videos and guides. Now, let's get right into this video. So, Evelyn is a unique officer that specializes in infantry, gathering, and support talent trees. She has some pretty crazy skills. She has one of the, I would say, best epic officer skills in the game, or active skills, that heals up to 3 troops for a healing multiplier of 350, which is massive because you would multiply that by 3 and you would get about 1,500 healing in one active skill. And when she is maxed out and awakened, you would get that sweet 500 healing multiplier, in addition to that 50 rage generation for 3 targets as well. So you would heal your 3 targets by a total of 1,500 healing multiplier, in addition to 150 rage in total for 3 targets. Now this skill is an amazing skill, especially because of the fact that she is easily obtained, and the way to actually obtain Evelyn is by going to the activities. You would find an event that is not available right now. The event is called Trial of Heroes, or for Heroes, and in that event you would be able to obtain warrior chests. Once you open them, you will get encrypted notes. Now these encrypted notes, you can actually spawn troops near your base. As you guys can see, they come in 3 different levels. Now, the higher the level, the better the rewards. So you spawn an encrypted node, and you get these Pandora Division troops, where you can actually get Evelyn badges and other pretty cool rewards. Now, you can also attack this, like these guys, by a solo attack, or even rally them with your guild, which is more preferable because of the fact that you would be sharing the rewards with your guild mates. Now, of course, let's just share this real quick to the guild so that they can actually attack it. Now, going back to her skills, her second skill, going back to her actually natural gatherer, she has a gathering skill over here that gives her gathering speed, universal gathering speed for all resources types by 25%, in addition to increasing the load of the units by 25% as well. This is actually a pretty cool skill if you are trying to build her up as a gatherer. Her third skill increases the infantry attack by 10%, and every round you have a 10% chance to increase all unit types defense by 20%, which is a phenomenal thing because of the fact that this doesn't apply to only infantry, however, all unit types. And this one over here increases the normal attack damage by 25% when maxed out, which I think is pretty phenomenal because this is a permanent passive skill that will last throughout the whole fight, which is pretty awesome as well. Now, Evelyn can actually be played in 2 roles. Firstly, the first role, which is the more passive role, which is a gatherer. Now, a gatherer, when you're playing Evelyn as a gatherer, what you need to be doing is actually focusing more on the gathering skills. So you would go max out immediately this skill over here, and then go ahead and max out the first skill because it's just so good. Afterwards, I would focus on the 4th skill, which is adrenaline, and then go back to antibiotics over here and max that out as well. So when you're running the gathering talent tree, go as this prioritization: 1, 2, 3, and then 4. Now, the second role for Evelyn is actually a support secondary officer that specializes in supporting general and infantry-based officers when you are fighting in the battlefield. So what she does is actually gives them some more like buffs and sustainability, in addition to some healing for multiple troops, as well as raid generation over time, which I think is pretty phenomenal due to the fact that she has, like, those skills are universal, but this one over here has only an infantry buff, so it actually gives more benefits to infantry, but still that 10 increase in defense, or a 20 increase in defense, can actually take over, especially because of the fact that you will have a universal normal attack damage increase by 25%, which is phenomenal. Now, if you're using her as a secondary defense or support officer, I would definitely max out her first skill first, go all the way down here, max out this skill, then this one over here, and then lastly her second skill over here. Now, this is because of the fact that you need to get that healing up immediately and then get that permanent 25% more damage increase, and this way you will be dealing more damage, and then lastly you will get the infantry attack and defense increase over here, which is pretty solid as well. Now, where do I actually recommend playing Evelyn in many different roles? So at the beginning of the game, what you need to be doing is actually avoiding war and focusing more on development and growth. Therefore, I would definitely recommend going as playing Evelyn as a gatherer in the beginning of the game, especially because of the fact that she is easily obtained from the Trial of Heroes, especially if you're doing rallies all the time. This way you would gain her badges much quickly, and you would be able to max out her second skill, getting that sweet 25% more gathering speed, especially that would be amazing in the beginning of the game. So I would definitely play her as a gatherer in the beginning of the game, focusing more on the gathering talent tree over here, maxing it out all the way down to Gatherer Master. The way I would do that is, first of all, go for oil gathering, max that out first, and then get either the defense or the health of the troops, of the gathering troops. It doesn't really matter over here, and then getting this Gathering Master over here. Now, to get Gathering Master, you need to level her up to level 40 and get her up to 4 stars so that you would have enough talent points, or so that you can actually get Gathering Master. Now, once you get her up to Gathering Master, I would definitely go with the support tree, go all the way down to Battlefield Aid, and then go all the way down over here so that you can actually decrease the troop skill damage received for troops, and then finally go for Total March. Now, for that, for gathering, I would actually, I would go this way only if you're worried about your troops being attacked and you want to protect them. However, for gathering, I would actually go for Total March over here to increase the march speed so that you can actually get to the nodes faster than you usually would do. So this was the gathering talent tree. Now, for support secondary officer talent tree, what I would do is go all the way to Battlefield 8, max that out immediately to get that sweet 10% more healing effect, and then go all the way down to Pursuit Master over here. Afterwards, I would go and start building up the infantry tree. So if you want to play her as an infantry, focusing more on swoop down and then going to infantry attack over here. Lastly, of course, Agile Breakout. Now, if you want to use her as an infantry officer, which I do not really recommend unless you are trying to build a fast infantry officer or a fast officer combination for infantry troops, for example, Raiders events, so that you can get to the airports faster or airfields faster than your opponents, then hey, I would go for, of course, infantry first, max out infantry march, and then go all the way down. Actually, max out infantry march, stop over there, and then go over here for total march, max that out as well. Go over here, total march as well, max that out too, and then finally getting that agile breakthrough over here. Now, this is a combination that I would recommend only if you're trying to build a secondary officers purely just for march speed. However, I would not recommend that for any other situation, especially when it comes to doing raiders or whatnot. These events specialize in like the support. You would need like the highest buffs that you can get for your team over there, and this is why I would recommend the support build and the support role as a secondary officer for her, of course, in that event. Now, if we look at her wardrobe over here, she has pretty much three skins: the default one, the logistics leader one, and finally the battlefield angel, which is a pretty cool skin. It's a deploy buff, so that once you deploy her, it will only activate and gives you food gathering speed by 5%, which is not huge, but hey, it's cool. It's a pretty cool buff over here. So this is why I would recommend always farming food with Evelyn, because of the fact that you will have that 5% plus, and especially when you're farming from a depot, that would actually benefit you on the long run, of course. Now for training, you would gain that advantage over tank destroyers by 10%. I have already maxed her out, and that is actually pretty sweet, especially if you're running her as an infantry build. Now, we have covered a lot of ground now. We talked about her skills, her talent trees, her different roles in the game, and how to actually obtain her. Now, lastly, we want to talk about her pairings. Now, Evelyn can actually work perfectly with officers that have a general tree, or can actually be run with multiple types of troops, in addition to officers that can run as infantry. So let's look at firstly the general officers that can be leading like main officers and her as secondary. Now, I wouldn't recommend Evelyn going as primary due to the fact that her skills aren't really super good. Plus, the support tree is meant to be as a secondary tree, not a primary tree. So this is why I would always recommend running her as a secondary officer, unless you have both officers at level 55 stars, so you would actually gaining both talent trees, and you have her level higher so that you can get more troops out, then I would understand that situation. However, otherwise, I wouldn't run her. For example, if you're running her with a 4-star officer like Chloe over here, you definitely need to get those talent trees up first, because you would definitely benefit from a 5-star Evelyn talent trees as well. So my first recommendation when you're running her in the battlefield, fighting field fights, focused on more field fights or even base attacks, especially when you are running a rally, I would definitely recommend Chloe. Like both things, as we have explained, I'll leave a card at the top if you don't know how to build Chloe for different situations. So I would definitely recommend running her with Chloe for maximum benefits if you're trying to fight in the battlefield, or even if you're trying to attack or rally other players' bases. Now, for another combination would be actually Helena over here. I think she is phenomenal as well, especially paired with when you are running her in the skill and general tree. She would be actually a pretty solid combination and run perfectly. And then I would actually go with as well Durain over here. I think she is a pretty cool debuffer. Definitely a solid, I would say, support march that definitely goes on for debuffing the enemy troops and actually buffing your own troops, which I think is pretty solid, especially when you're fighting these huge field fights that you want to maximize the benefits from. So that actually, this way, it's actually best fought in that form. Now, moving on to the infantry officers, more infantry based. So I would definitely recommend running her with Riven, especially in Normandy Arena and Overlord, because of the fact that Riven deals damage in a like in a shaped, like half circle shaped form. This way you would hit multiple troops of enemies. Especially using that infantry and skill tree, you would be able to cast your skills even faster, healing your allies even more frequently, especially due to the fact that you would be gaining more rage over time, and therefore you would be healing your allies and recovering their rage much faster. So I would definitely recommend these two officers over here for more rage generation over time. They will be definitely a fierce rage engine. Now, I would not recommend running her with Angelica, because of the fact that Angelica is a more one-to-one based officer rather than a, I would say, like multiple troops support based officer. Therefore, I would definitely run Angelica with another officer, for example, like Lubna over here, or maybe something else. we'll definitely do a video about that later on. But for now, I would not recommend running her with Angelica due to the fact that they don't pair that well, especially in terms of skills and basically overall role in the game. Now, Lubna is a pretty solid combination with Evelyn due to the fact that she deals a AoE damage over here with her skill, and I think that these two pairings can actually be pretty solid, especially in the late game. I wouldn't recommend them. However, as I said, my best recommendation would be running her with Chloe. I think they work perfectly together, in addition to Riven, and finally Helena or Durain over here. I think these two are pretty solid as well. Now, this is basically the officer that I would be, like these two officers that I would definitely be running them with, and recommend you guys to do that as well. So that was it for Evelyn for today. Thank you guys so much for watching the video. We have actually got a new mic. I hope you guys like the voice or the audio quality that I've been running the video with. And soon there'll be great announcements as we have announced in the latest video. So stay tuned for that, guys. And we will definitely see you on the next one. Bye-bye.